Hello, you are with our SE News, the September edition on Slovakia. Now we will report on all major trends in the major asset classes in Slovakia. And we start with some very intriguing news. Bratislava became the 201st global city to have a skyscraper. It happened in September as the construction of Eurovea Tower reached the 44th floor and got over the 150 meters level. The total height of the building is to be 168 meters, and the completion of shell construction should be done by the end of this year. The developer G&T Real Estate announced. Hong Kong has almost 550 skyscrapers, London 30, Warsaw 11, and neighboring Vienna 3. According to the Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat, Bratislava became the 201st global city to have a skyscraper, that is, go beyond the 150 plus meters height. And now we go on with the industrial asset class in Slovakia. In Q2 of 2022, the Slovak economy was primarily marked by flaming inflation that puts raw materials costs at new heights. On the other hand, in the same period of this year, the Slovak industry recovered. This was mainly due to the automotive industry, which continues to be the driving force of Slovakia's economy. The office market went through a major change, as most of the stock was reclassified by the Bratislava Research Forum. And in retail, there were fewer projects under construction due to consistently growing construction materials costs and delivery length, the Cushman and Wakefield presented in their new Market Beat report on the Slovak economy. Slovakia encounters an inflation rise that has not been experienced for more than 2 decades, as the inflation reached up to 13.2% in June. According to the National Bank of Slovakia, the growth of Slovakia's economy will slow down this year down to 1.4%, and domestic demand, compounded mostly by household consumption, will contribute almost exclusively to this growth. The industry recovered from a 4-month slump mainly due to the automotive industry, which, despite ongoing problems that impaired the supply chains, continues to maintain its reputation as the driving force of Slovakia's economy. The industrial sector is thriving, as evidenced by an increase in the total stock of 7.5% since the beginning of the year. In this quarter, 5 industrial buildings with a total leasable area of 97,700 square meters were completed, 3/4 of which are located in western Slovakia, including the Bratislava region. Although the vast majority of stock is situated in western Slovakia, we also see increased interest in industrial buildings in the eastern part of the country, as 1/4 or 25% of the total stock under construction is there. In total, the development consists of 23 buildings and represent 380,000 square meters. Concerning the representation of the occupiers, the automotive sector replaced the e-commerce sector, and together with 3PL accounted for more than half of the take-up. We go on with the commercial asset class in Slovakia. The office market went through a major change, as most of the stock was reclassified by the Bratislava Research Forum. One of the reasons for this was the separation of the most modern and technologically advanced buildings into the newly created A+ category. Another factor in the reclassification process was the lack of up-to-date building standards, as technological progress and attitudes towards the ESG had not been taken into account. As a result, despite crossing the 2 million square meters mark in the previous quarter, office stock dropped to 1.96 million square meters as several historical buildings were removed from the stock as they no longer meet the parameters of a Class A or B stock. Nevertheless, in the second quarter of 2022, take-up reached a total area of 27,900 square meters, representing a 25% year-over-year decrease. A majority, 63% of the leasing activity took place in A or A+ buildings, confirming the ongoing demand for modern and newer offices. Net take-up represented 67% of total leasing activity, and yet again, new leases surpassed renegotiations. In the case of higher-end offices, prime modern premises with efficient layouts, often on top floors, these are seldom vacant, which opens a way not only for increased service fees, but also for rising rents. This, along with strong demand, pushes the prime rents up. Therefore, prime rent rebounded back to a value of €70 per square meter. Class B and Class C offices must turn to refurbishments and maintain competitive pricing to find their footing. As expected, prime office yield decreased this quarter and reached the rate of 4%. It has thus reached its historically lowest value. We go on further with the retail asset class in Slovakia. The new shopping center Promenada opened its gates in the second quarter of 2022. It became the sixth shopping center in Nitra and brings a total leasable space of 26,000 square meters. Due to consistently growing construction materials costs and delivery length, we see fewer projects under construction. Eurovea 2, which is to open its gates in April 2023, is still the only large-scale retail project under development, accompanied by several smaller retail projects, retail parks NC Sabinov and OC Island, or the extension of shopping center OC Madaras. The growing demand stemming from the situation without pandemic restrictions combined with the summer season contributed to the attendance of retail establishments, and the result is a surge in turnover, which has generally reached similar figures to the ones in 2019, and in some cases even exceeded them, as most landlords have contracted energy costs until the end of the year at the old price. Thus, before the extensive advance in prices, prime rents remain stable in both shopping centers, €65 per square meter per month, and retail parks, €9.5 per square meter per month. The achievable prime yields for retail commodities reached the level of 6% for shopping centers with full occupancy and high mobility of people, and is oscillating around 7% for the most attractive retail parks. We remind that retail prime yields are the highest in Bulgaria compared to the other SEE countries, reaching up to 7.75%. That were all news about Slovakia and the September trends. Check out also our news on Bulgaria, Poland, Hungary, Czechia, and Romania. See you very soon. Bye. PropTech Bulgaria has very good news to share with you today. Following our latest calculations, our database with European PropTech companies reaches 4,140 companies. Our extended database reaches over 5,200 companies in Europe. You can have access to all these data and analytics based on such a large database. Only to mention that 4,140 companies equal to 91% of all PropTech companies existing in Europe, which originate in Europe. So, one way to have access to this information is through our annual report, 2022 European PropTech Report 30 countries in numbers. You can get information about the PropTech profile of each of these 30 countries and decide either how to expand your operations if you're a PropTech company, or where to look for a particular type of PropTechs if you are a property developer. Of course, you can also have a customer-tailored analysis on specific market niches. You can just imagine any niche you need information about, whether it is energy tech, invest and finance PropTechs, PropTechs for the retail asset class, for industrial asset class, AEC PropTechs for architects, construction engineers, and designers. PropTechs which classify as construction technology companies, contact companies, visualization PropTechs, PropTechs for real estate agencies. You can name really any type of PropTechs you want to have information about, and the best players in Europe. Only contact us directly and see more information on our web platforms proptechbulgaria.eu or cproptech.eu. Talk soon.